Hi, and thank you for joining this ninth episode of Mediumystic. I'm your host, Kristen Harlow. Today, I sit down with Quantum Explorer Laura Torrado to discuss her experience visiting John of God in Brazil. We talk about the miraculous nature of his ministry and also the controversial nature of his life and the things that he did which negatively impacted the people who visited him. We talk about lower energies in general, the ways in which they tend to infiltrate the lives of people like him who have reached a critical level of mass awareness, as well as the lives of people like you and me, and how we can protect ourselves from those energies, as well as ideally transmuting them into something loving and positive. It's a really powerful conversation with a very powerful person, and I hope you enjoyed as much as I did. Laura, hi.
Hey,
I,
Kristen.
I am so glad that you were able to sit down with me today because it's been a while since we've connected, and you are a really huge part of my development as a medium. I've been a medium for my entire life, but it was an experience with you that actually helped me to step into the role fully and call myself a medium rather than just have the experiences and be and lack the confidence to actually just say that that's what I am. And it was the experience with our mutual friend whose mother we brought through that night while we were in medicine space.
Yeah.
And that was absolutely not the first time that I practiced mediumship or had experiences with spirit, but it was absolutely the first time when I began to take it seriously and understand that I really needed to pursue the organization of that gift and the understanding of it. So I started joining circles and eventually even started my own circle because of that experience. So I really I'm so grateful to you and
I was
just
not aware. I really remember that moment precisely.
yeah, me too. Yeah.
Yeah.
And just to share with listeners, since we're kind of we're discussing a situation that they aren't aware of, we were we were both really asked by a mutual friend to bring through his mother who had passed when he was 14 years old,
Yeah.
and it immediately his mother came through, and we shared many details about her. And I remember I'm not using his name just because, I don't know. It doesn't seem like it's necessary to use his name, but I'd like to because his name to me is akin to God, frankly.
Be
I love
careful
him.
because you might use his name and he'll be right here. Okay.
Uh-huh. I think he already is. I think he's
Like,
been here this
what are
morning,
you
since
talking
this morning.
about?
Laura. But
Oh, you have to be online now.
uh but what he really wanted was for me to bring her through, to become in a trance state and truly bring through her voice and for her to appear on my face. And that's just not how it works for me. I don't have that kind of yet. I don't have that kind of channeling experience where the voice comes through and all that. I have more of a knowing and a seeing, right? And I think it's the same for you too, in my experience. But he really wanted that. He wanted to hear her and feel her because, he had heard that that's what I do. And I suppose maybe that's where I'm going, but it's not where I was at the time.
Yeah. I
So,
was
but
surprised that he asked because he would never ask for anything. And he had it so repressed that she passed away at such a young age.
mhm.
Like he didn't want to talk about it, he didn't want to hear it, and here he is. I guess it's because we were all in medicine space and a special place, and he asked for this, and he asked when I'm sitting there, and he asked you. So it was a very special moment for myself as well.
I'm getting goosebumps as you say that.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, because
And
he's
I
here.
feel his presence right
He
now.
is. Yep, he's here.
I
Big
smell
time he's here.
I smell his cigarette.
Yep. Do you?
Yeah.
I love him. I love you. I want to say your name, but for some reason feeling I need to protect his name. I don't know why. But yeah, I feel him too.
Wow.
It was really special. It was so special for that reason, because I knew him, and well, not as well as you did, but I knew him, and I know that side of him, that gruff, protected side. But we had a pretty soft connection from the moment we met, and we didn't have a lot of time together, but we had, and for everyone who's listening, he has since passed. That's why we feel him with us.
Yeah.
He passed from a very fast moving illness. Um, but I knew how much that meant, that he had trusted me with that request. I just was so honored. And that's part of the reason why I stepped into the experience as well, and really fully embraced my
That's
gifts.
wow.
But yeah,
Yeah.
it is incredible. It's just incredible. Uh, but so thank you. Thank you to both of you. And hopefully you'll remain with us as we continue this conversation.
Oh, for sure. It's like sitting there like, let me
Yep.
check this out.
Likes nothing better than for people to be talking about him.
It's the circus. Oh, enjoy
um, so you were sharing before we started your recent experience with being called to have this kind of public persona, it seems, and to share your own incredibly powerful gifts, and we'll get into more of that as well. And so do you want to get into that, to share exactly what you were sharing earlier about that?
Yeah, I've been very private, and even private about the medicine and about connections to spirit, and knowledge that comes to me out of the blue, and I can't deny it. And in a setting with other friends where we were doing quantum hypnosis, I was under, and what it came through, and this is not the first time, it was that I had to speak. I was telling you that so vividly, Purple Rain song, and um, what's his name?
Purple Rain Prince.
Prince
Yeah.
came through and said, "This is your time to be on stage." And he was showing me Broadway, and he was showing me a stage, and he was showing, "What is this? I'm just a dentist. I don't do any of this." And as I know, the time is now. How long? And so I move into it, and then we came out of the trance, and opportunities to speak came coming. My mentor in my profession, it's teaching. So I was invited to the Sunday Zoom meeting, and talk about whatever it is that we're doing. And then you called me, and I don't know. I don't have clear the message that I have to deliver. I know what happens to me. I know it's real. I know I can't deny it. So I'm pretty aware that there's other dimensions that we're not in touch, and we become in touch when we are ready. And I think we have teachers and ascended masters and the kind of guiding us. And when we're ready, they step in and they advise. And last week, prior to coming to this interview, it was so powerful. On Wednesday, I wake up and get in the shower, and I hear the song. What's love had to do with it? What's love had to do with it? I said,
Ooh,
why am I hearing
wow.
that song? I mean, I haven't heard it. Sometimes you hear it, it sticks in your head. And I'm at work and it keeps coming. It's like, why is that? I'm not fighting with my fiance. Um, I'm okay. I'm in a good space. I don't know what that is about. So I work all day, and like 3 o'clock, I get on my phone to check the news or check the media. And there she is. She had passed. I have
Wow.
no denying of this. This
No.
was true. This happened. And I would like to have more guidance. I would like to know what is that I'm supposed to do, other than take a deep breath, enjoy it, and when the information of what you're supposed to do with it will come through. Or maybe I'm not supposed to do anything. Maybe I just plow along, but it feels like I should be doing something.
It certainly seems like maybe it's a prompt to keep going in the direction that we're going. In terms of, we'll get back to the idea of the message that came through that you need to be pursuing the
Mhm.
presentation of your gifts in public. But in terms of spirit coming through like that when someone passes, because did you have a connection with Tina Turner? Was there any? I mean, you liked her, I imagine. Who doesn't, right? But
So I remember when I was going through a divorce, um, her songs kept coming through a lot,
mm,
specifically this one. And also private dancer. Like
hmm.
private dancer, somebody that just works because they have to do what they have to do, and maybe they're not in tune. I'm not a prostitute, but a lot of the time the profession, uh, like you just grin and bear, pun intended, and you do what you have to do. And I remember like kind of dancing on my own to release stress and having her songs come to my head. I mean, I've been divorced for a long time and I'm a good space now. It's okay, but it was so out of nowhere that
Yeah,
I hear that song. I mean, what is my connect? I didn't have posters of Tina Turner. I didn't have uh, go to concerts. I mean, I know who she was,
right.
and I remember
Respect her gift, but
her story of coming out of hardship. Um, might relate a little bit with that, but no, I really don't. So
I had a
was
similar experience with Sam Shepard when he passed away. A very, very similar experience. He was a very well-known and incredibly gifted playwright, and also an actor and a director, but just as a playwright, considered one of the best of his time. And I one day woke up and decided to take one of his plays off my bookshelf and take it with me to work and read it. I didn't know why. There was no reason whatsoever. There was nothing, no reason. I just decided to bring it with me and learned the next day that he passed. And I do have a connection with him just in terms of my respect for his gift. So I did have that kind of connection, but no reason why that would have come through. And I know other people who have had experiences like that too. And I wonder if it's because they there that to use the word again, that quantum connection between us
Mhm.
exists. There's an energetic connection, an experiential connection in some way. And so when they pass, they pick up on that experience and then realize we're channels for them. So they come through as almost an acknowledgement of the spiritual realm or the experience of living what they were in life.
Yeah, we talk
But
about oneness all the time, right? And it sounds
yeah,
like easy and it sounds overused, but experiences like that, it's like that is oneness. I mean, uh,
absolutely.
I don't know where you are, Tina, but that is one. I don't know where you are, SP, but it's one.
That's
Um,
right. That's right.
um,
SP is our mutual friend we were just discussing for everyone who's listening.
he actually materialized like after passing.
Tell me about that.
He materialized. Like I was here with a friend and we were doing medicine. It was just me and her. Sorry, her and I. And and I came upstairs and I like got startled, like I could see him. And he goes, I'm sorry I couldn't give you what you were needing from me, but I had other plans. And it was so vivid. Again, nobody could deny. I just saw him for a second and done. That's it. So I share with my friend. He's around all the time. And so
He's
is my,
so powerful.
yeah,
He
so
was
is my,
powerful in life.
yeah, that's why he decided to check out so early. So the first time I met him though, um, of course in medicine, uh, and the facilitator takes me to his house. He was done early. He was home, and he takes me to his house. And when I see him, and I'm really in another realm, and he is coming down, so I see like dark spots in his lungs, right? And I know what he has, and I ask him, "Can I clean it?" So I started going like this, clean, clean. So in my mind, I knew what he had, and then 3 years later, when what happened, the diagnosis and the MRI show exactly the spots that I have seen,
Oh, wow.
and I have that email, and I remember sending the facilitator the doctor that he should be seeing, because at that time my ex-husband also was dealing with the same disease, and So those things that I actually, sometimes I say I should do a journal. And when I remember, I just write it down and then I just go about my regular life. But
It's
um,
very hard. I say the same thing to myself. I really need to be writing this stuff down. It happens so much, and to have that is it's a teaching instrument for yourself for later on, first of all, and second of all, just to to keep these memories, alive. And I try to do it as well. I put notes on my phone, but I'm not great about it either. It's hard to do. Um,
I mean, life happens,
right,
common life happens, and we
right.
continue flying along.
You were
Um,
mentioning his ailment, though, is a nice segue into a conversation about John of God, which you told me that you had gone to Brazil to visit him, uh, and I was wondering, firstly, and we'll get into all the stuff about him, what he was, the uh, controversy that surrounds him, and that's probably a soft word for the information that surrounds him. But first, would you like to share exactly, why you went to see him and what that experience was like?
well, I like to do pilgrimage to sacred places, right?
Oh,
I was
nice. Yeah.
born on a day. There's a pilgrimage to Santiago de Compostela in Spain, where
Mm-hmm.
happening through ages, medieval times,
Mm-hmm.
to go to the cathedral where the remains of um, Santiago Apostle. What's in English? Anyway,
Is it? It's not Peter, is it? Is it
uh,
um
I don't know. I can't have
James?
James, St. James.
James. Okay.
Thank you, St. James. So I
Yeah.
was born on D-Day, July 25th, where all the pilgrims supposed to be there. So I think I brought that when I was born. I went to Peru, and it's just like the highlight of my life.
Mm.
Experience in Peru. So when I heard about John of God, and I was born in South America, it's like, oh, I could go to Brazil, and I have a friend who's just a good partner to follow me and do all that. So we said, yeah, let's go, let's pray. And, very left brain and very spiritual. It's like we go there because it's spiritual, and then we write on a paper everything that we want. It's also spiritual, and it is spiritual. And why not? So we had a guide, which I learned that she didn't have integrity either, because she said, no, you have to book there for 2 weeks because 1 week is not enough. Like, it's not enough because she was getting paid by the day, because when you're there, he was there only 2 days a week, and that's when you meet him. And so a week was plenty. So I said I closed my office for 10 days, and she closed her office for 10 days. But we didn't have any ailments, thank God. But we just wanted to see and feel the place and see him, and why not? Um, so when we went in his presence, because that was the protocol, and when he was there, he sat like in an altar. You would write 3 things that you wanted to ask him, and see what came back. I don't remember what I asked him. And I remember I understand Portuguese, and the translator, who didn't know, I understand, he translated half-ass. Oh, I'm sorry,
It's
half-ass,
okay.
which the questions that I said. And then he didn't have anything magnificent to say or anything enlightening. He said, okay, here, take this medicine, which was passion flower pills that they would sell to everybody,
Hmm.
and pray for 24 hours and don't come out of your room. And I thought, okay, that is strange, but I could certainly meditate for 24 hours. And food was brought to our rooms. And when I'm looking at the components of passion flower fruit, is like a sedative. It's like taking no, like Valium. And of course we slept a lot because we took that. So
Hmm.
deep down, I didn't want to disbelieve and be negative, and so I just went with the flow. And a few months later, after our trip, the whole thing blows up of
Wow.
his lack of integrity. um, I think a lot of people are going to say that they had healing experiences from diseases, but I don't believe it's John of God. I mean, I think John of God was the portal to bring people to that place, and then his ego took over.
Hmm.
I think he has the facilitator part of bringing people to the spot on the earth. And we talk about the chakras of the earth, and I think that could be one of them. I know Glastonbury is another one, and I don't have the map in my head right now, but there's certain places on the earth that have more energy concentrated, like Peru. Um, so when you gather all these people coming from all over with faith and with prayer and with magic happens. Why was he a portal? I don't know. I don't know much about his life, or but he probably has the power that we all have, and he just embraced it, or it was determined that this was his time to produce this.
And I think he did say that. I think he did acknowledge that it's something that we all that we're all capable of. I don't know too much about his life either, but just as a little like background explanation. Apparently, I'm not sure exactly what age he was when this happened, but he started life as a tailor, and he became a very young. He was like 8 years old when he became a tailor's apprentice, and still very young when he was in his early teens. I guess he became a very successful tailor. He was very good at it, and at
Mhm.
some point, he took a journey. He had to walk from one wherever he was to the place where he wound up, where his whole facility existed, and was starving and exhausted by the time he reached this place, and was really just looking for a meal. And on the way there, he stopped to get some water, and apparently a female presence came out of the woods and told him who he was and what he was going to be, and his experience with spirit and what his job was going to be. And he kind of ignored it. It happened, and he ignored it, apparently. Wound up at the land where his facility wound up being developed, and the people there called him in immediately and said, "You're here, we've been waiting for you." And so they took him in, and he sat. They put him in a chair, and they told him, "You're going to speak to the group tonight." And he was like, "I think you have the wrong person. I
God,
would
I
love."
feel familiar.
Yeah, right, right. Uh, that's right. Speak, exactly. And he was like, "I think you have the wrong person. I mean, I love a meal, but I don't think it's me that you're looking for." And then he fainted, apparently. And
Uh-huh.
he came to, and he was like, he thought it was from hunger, but he was told that in the time that he had been unconscious, he had healed all kinds of people and spoke and did all these things. And from then on, he learned and developed his skills and how to control the experience.
Mm.
I I don't know what to think of him. I've heard of him for years, but I decided to do a little more research before we had this conversation, and to really remove all of my judgments about the things that he's been accused of, just so that I could be open to what he did and what he experienced, because it does seem like people like him who have these kinds of gifts, if they reach a level of mass awareness, it seems like many of them are put in this position of being forced to defend their human nature, and like you think of Mother Teresa, for instance. She too has that kind of accusation against her, that she was hoarding money, and that she was not a perfect person by any stretch. And who can expect anyone to be a perfect person? But it does seem like it's a common thing where people reach a level of mass awareness and then they're accused of things. It just seems common.
I think if we are to take anything positive of it, is him being the portal of a lot of people coming to prayer and healing themselves.
I love that. I love that take, and I think that makes a lot of sense.
That you cannot take away. And he tapped into some type of spiritual thing. I mean, his sign was it was like this triangles, right? Like us above, so below. So he tapped unknowingly into sacred geometry, and he
Hmm.
tapped unknowingly into. I mean, people from all over the world will come in, and there is accounts of healing, inexplicable healing. So if we take the positive, there was some positive. If we take the negative, there was a lot of negative.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's hard to see past the negative to the positive, but the positive is there, and it really is, it's true. even if none of it, even if it was all magic, you know, even if he was a David Blaine level magician, which I don't believe, but even if he was, he did still draw enormous crowds of people such as yourself to one place and create even more of a portal there. I think that's definitely true.
A lot of healing happened there. So why are you attracted to John of God?
Well, I really honestly, I was having a conversation with somebody else recently, and we were talking about spiritism, and and she comes from that tradition, and so she mentioned that John of God is also of that tradition, and so I remembered you and how you had gone there and had your own experience. So that's really what this is about. It's why and I've always been curious about it. I have a hard time fully accepting the reality of it, and that's about me, you know, and part of, I think, everyone's journey is opening more and more to the things that seem impossible to you, so that you still have a discerning eye, but you are open to the possibilities, so that then that opens your own gifts, right? So that's my process. I think I'm closer to being able to accept the reality of his work, but the surgeries especially, I still have a little bit of a block about. But you know,
Seeing
working
those
through it.
videos, I don't know whether they're a lie or if they were real. They're pretty scary.
I don't think they're a lie. I've seen them too, and I just they don't have the technical capacity to
Putting the
fake.
fingers in the open wound and taking it out, and then the eye surgery was like, it was the one that
I know.
really possible to look. But there's a lot of that spiritism and religion in Brazil. So there's a big influence from the conquistador, like Portugal, Catholic, and then they have this influx of slaves, and
Hmm.
it's pretty mixed. And the slaves brought their own beliefs and implemented, and so it's heavily charged. I know on the first of the year there's a lot of Imanja, that's the god that they revere, and everybody goes into the water with white clothing, and that was one of the requirements to go to John of God, that you have to wear everything white,
Mm.
and it's based on the spiritism. But
Hmm.
at the same time, the entities that he said that they would come in, they were Catholic doctors. I don't remember now. It was like 3 entities that heal you, but they were Catholic. And then one of the things that you had to do also was like lie in a bed with lights that were aligned with the chakras of the body. So he took like from everything: spiritism, Catholicism, sacred geometry, lights, Hindu tradition. So you would lie in the bed with a light. By the way, I bought a bed with lights that that I light sometimes, and you could feel the energy of the light. If it has like a prism of quartz,
Hmm.
like Vogel cut crystals, and you're aligning in the chakras. So that, we are water and we are muscles, and like anything like light or sound, anything affects you. And he tapped on that as well as part of the healing process.
Hmm.
Um,
Did you feel like what you asked for, what you brought there was was answered, or or were you given what you asked for as a result of?
so my request to be in a spiritual place like that were so shallow and so non-spiritual.
Hmm.
It's just today I understand it was like a perfect blend of somebody who lives this New York City life, and then all of a sudden you want to be spiritual.
Hmm. Hmm.
So in the end, some came. The only thing that it was strange was with my mother, because I'm an only child. My mother lives in Spain. I live in New York, and she's very clingy to me, like almost like non-healthy.
Hmm.
I'm 61 years old. Like, I can't be checking on you. You can't be checking on me through WhatsApp every morning, night, and dinner. So I know she loves me, and it's never come from malicious, but it's just like a wet blanket. My ex-husband used to say, like. So I requested to cut the cords that are not love, which it was difficult to understand because I don't think there's any cord between her and I that are not love. But maybe the negative was the clinginess. Maybe the negative was like, I can't live like this. You checking on me every minute. And something happened that on her end, she started to be shaky and trembling.
Hmm.
And she didn't know why. They didn't have, she went to the emergency room and they didn't know what was wrong. And she was like nervous and she didn't understand why. And they were asking, are you upset? Is your daughter okay? Are you okay? Yeah, I don't understand. Everything is okay. And she was like trembling. So till this day, she takes every day 0.5 milligrams of Valium with breakfast, which is like a microdose. Um,
Wow.
then I said, I'm sorry, but at the same time, uh, I mean, I need to live my life, and it's not that I wish her wrong, but so that is inexplicable, although I have that explanation, but that happened for real.
It sounds to me like the chords you're talking about, of course, are chords of love, but they're also infused with chords of need.
Yeah,
And, need is not, it's a version of love, but it's not a pure version of love. So it seems like those are the chords. And then
yeah,
she's
it was extreme. I mean, she's still intense, but I think it eased up a little bit.
okay,
Um,
interesting. Wow.
although maybe it's the medication, but why would she take medication? So
Well,
that was inexplicable.
it's not the point that it's the fact that she had that reaction. She had a physical reaction to an emotional healing.
Yeah,
It was a healing for her as well as for you.
it happened.
Um,
It's real.
wow. Oh yeah. No question about that.
That's thanks to John of God.
Yeah. Yeah. There's it, it's absolutely a fact that he changed things energetically. There's no question about that. His presence maybe advanced the cause of pursuing spirituality and understanding our own connection to God, and created an opening there. So for that reason, he was a gift. And perhaps they say this about medicine space as well. And I think it's the truth. I think it's true for spirituality and mediumship and all things that open us to those divine energies. They also open us to other energies, I think. And when power becomes intertwined with those energies, with our abilities, when we gain power from them, I wonder if that opening that we've created allows those lower energies to enter and then play with our ego, so that we behave in ways that perhaps we would not have had we not gained that power that people like him gained. It's like we were talking before we started about the idea of announcing the fact that you're also an accomplished dentist as well as an incredibly powerful spiritual
Mhm.
person, quantum explorer, we decided.
I like
uh I like that too. I think it's true for you for sure. And I was
right.
I was talking to you. What's that?
I'm gonna write it down.
You won't forget, because that's how I'm gonna introduce you. uh but we were talking about how I had someone come on this podcast before who is a certified therapist, and she put that information out there, and then that information was abused by someone. And I explained to you that what we think it is I have a medium circle that I started that's free. And because it's free and it's on Zoom, it attracts usually young guys to come and bomb the Zoom circle. So they join. I let anyone in. They join, and then they do stupid things. They'll just
Yeah,
put.
so there's actually spiritual devices to protect against that.
Oh yeah.
Grid your space. You could grid your space with geometric forms. Like
Oh.
nobody's gonna enter here. So the geometric forms a square, a triangle, and a circle. So you grid your space and you determine that no negative entities are gonna come into the space, and that every entity that's gonna come in, it's gonna be for the greater good. So the same way that you protect yourself before the day commences. So it's pretty powerful because there's negative energy and there's positive energy, but the positive is way stronger than the negative.
You
So
just really you just really explained something to me by sharing that. I'm going to do that before we start from now on for myself and for the circle. But you just answered a question for me,
yeah,
which is that they always come in at the beginning and they always do what they do at the very beginning before we even start. So I can always get rid of them before we start the circle. They always do it at the beginning. And I always say, every time it happens, I say to the group, I don't understand why they do it in the beginning. Why don't they wait until we've gotten going and then do it? It would be much more effective. Obviously, I don't want them to do that, but I often ask that question because I'm like, I don't understand why they don't wait until we've started before they do this stuff. It would be much more disruptive, and that's what their goal is. And now I understand.
but they,
I always start the
oh,
circle with an opening prayer and a prayer of protection so they
they
can't get
cannot,
in.
they can't get it. No, they can't get it.
Amazing. And they always without fail do it at the very beginning. It doesn't even happen before always happens before the prayer is even spoken. So
They have no choice. They have no chance, and you have the power, and you determine. So anybody that comes through, or whether it's incarnated or not, it's because we allow them. So you establish intent, you grid it. You could first you ask who is here for the greater good, ascended masters with me, and I ask to be protected. I ask that the space be protected, and then at the end you close it. And you open, you grid it, you close it, and that's it. And it won't happen.
So I'm going to do that, but before anybody even joins, before anyone even joins the Zoom, I'm going to do that. And then once they all leave, I'm going to do that. That's excellent, excellent advice. Wow.
Gratitude, and joy. Those are the two things that we want. And then we close. Thank you for the thank you and gratitude, and the joy of having had this type of connection. So they're lower entities. So they're not as powerful. So
And that's what I was going to say. I feel that is part of it, that it's not just these young guys who are bored. It partially is. That's the shallow version of these people who are coming through. It seems that there is something larger happening, and
they have entities attached.
yeah.
It's the same vibration, right? Like say like a tuning fork. You hit it, and then next to it start vibrating at the same wavelength. So
Mm-hmm.
so the wavelength that they are or that we are is what we attract.
Mm-hmm.
It's very common, and if you have like tuning forks, it just they start vibrating at the same, even though they're different notes.
Mm-hmm.
And that's it. We are water, we are breath, and it's we have to protect ourselves. And
It's amazing. And I mean, I don't take it seriously. They go away. It is disturbing. It has a level of not just young guys behaving like dummies, but it has a creepy level. There's something very, very creepy about it as well. So
mhm.
uh yeah, and so the reason I bring that up is because I feel that same energy maybe is able to sneak into these people who gain enormous power from their spiritual gifts. They're opening themselves to both.
It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. It's a daily work. It's
Yeah.
a daily work. If not, you become porous. You become a target. It's there. It's real. In common day life, if I don't say a prayer, if I don't protect myself, my day, the people are going to come to my door are like off kilter. They're not.
Mm.
And it's, oh, why is this? Is it full moon? Yes, it is full moon for sure. It is full moon. And they're giving you experiences that is not what you desire. So then I think, what am I learning from this experience? But sometimes I'm tired. It's like, I don't want to learn today. Just give me a
Yeah.
day, okay?
Yeah, give me a day off.
Yeah, give me
I'm
a day
in.
off. What am I? Special disability? I enough with the learning.
Yeah. Yeah.
It is true. They're there. They're available. You could also call in the elements, like stones or metals, or you can call air. Um, but it is necessary. It's kind of like you wake up and you shower and you get dressed. This is the same thing.
Yeah.
You go out the door without protection.
Now I'm going to be doing 2 opening prayers and 2 closing prayers.
Yeah, they're spiritual parasites, and you just get rid of it because you got the power.
It's amazing. It's
Yeah.
it's really amazing. And then also forgive them for forgive the energies for their own, deprivation, I think is also important as well.
So everybody's on a different path. At this point in time, that's their path.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe at some point in time, that was our path.
Yep.
It's perfect. Right? It's a spectrum, right? From 0 to 10 or from 0 to whatever. And the light doesn't exist with the dark, and the positive doesn't exist with the negative. So in a way, it's what it is.
Exactly.
It doesn't have to invade our space or our lives. That's it.
Exactly. Well, Laura, this has been a really, really amazing conversation. I'm so happy to have connected with you again. Let's do this again. Now you've been told you must,
Told by spirits and non-incarnated people, and what brings my attention, they're like Black entrepreneurs. I don't know what that means. It's Prince, it's Tina Turner, and it was somebody else. I think probably the genetic of struggling and coming out of nothing into something. I'll keep thinking about it, or I'll keep hearing and see what comes out.
What is it that can you speak more about that?
So the important messages that I heard, like Prince showing me Broadway stage.
Oh, right.
And Tina Turner coming out of nowhere. These are Black entrepreneurs or artists that come from struggle, and there was somebody else also. Surprise. Oh, that's it.
That is interesting. I'm also putting my attention on that.
Yeah, like Sting didn't come through, or Dylan didn't come through. These people.
Very specific. Yeah. And this idea of it being a kind of a carrying the genetic weight of history, as well as their own personal, genetic weight, that resonates, I think. And how that plays a role in your own development and that's something you're going to have to put more thought into by coming back here and sharing what you
epigenetics. How do we change the genetic history that we bring in through that belief, through struggle, that belief through scarcity, and like you got to work hard and all that. I think that comes, as I speak, it comes from that.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, thank you so much. And do you have, before we end, do you have a website, social media, anything that you'd like to share with our listeners?
Well, I have the lightcrossings.com. That is talks a little bit about the energy work that I do through Reiki, my path in the Modern Mystery School that's based in Toronto. Which, by the way, they have teachings about hermetic life.
Okay. Interesting. I want to talk to you about that at some point as well. That was some, yeah.
So it's based, the entire school is based into hermetic teachings. It's all over the world, but it's the headquarters are in Toronto, and I was there 2 weeks ago for recertification. And also end of life doula, which the pandemic brought it to a halt because I was volunteering for New York, visiting nurse of New York, and we couldn't do in-person visits anymore, so I don't volunteer with them anymore. And then my dental professional is Dental Wellness Airway, and we just doing dentistry in a way of allowing people to breathe better. So we treat patients that have sleep apnea and have difficulty using a CPAP. And I think that service is, I kept asking, how do I merge the energy work and the spirit work into a dentist? I'm a dentist. And I think we say that through breath, I breathe God. And God or spirit or higher power. So, and allowing dental patients to be able to breathe better, which is what we do, I think I succeeded into connecting both.
Beautiful.
That's it. And it's just my name. I have a Twitter that I don't use, and I have an Instagram that I don't use.
So Laura Torrado. Yeah. So it's lightcrossings.com. It's dental wellness airway.com. And Laura Torrado on Instagram and Twitter. Excellent.
All right.
Thank you so much, Laura. And to our listeners, thank you for joining us, and we love you.
Yeah,
Bye.
okay, take care. Bye.